Hello students, good evening. Very warm welcome to our foundation lectures on mathematics. So in our previous lectures we have seen the basic chapter on geometry, that is introduction to Euclid geometry. So in today's topic let's start discussion with lines and angles. Okay, hope I am audible. So okay, let me remove my. So in today's topic let's start with lines and angles. Okay, let's start with the basics. So before that, see, you guys are grown up, so it's high time that you will start reading on your own. Okay, you should be able to read from the textbook and you should be able to understand what is mentioned in the lines and what is mentioned between the lines. You need to understand the what is the point the author is trying to convey whenever you read some book. Okay, so it is imperative that you will get used to reading textbooks and understanding it on yourself without taking anyone's help, irrespective of your teacher or your parent or your friend. You should train yourself in such a way that you will be doing self-reading, and that too from the proper textbook. Okay, ma'am. So what we'll do is, this chapter let's do it ourselves, like how to read things from the textbook and how to understand what is given and what all to read. Okay, let's start reading from the textbook and try to understand whatever is given in the textbook. Okay, and I wish that you will be following the same procedure, but yourself you need to do from following chapters. Okay, not just for this 9th class, in your 10th class, 11th class, whatever it is, you should get habituated to reading from the textbook on yourself and try to understand whatever is given. So let's start with the chapter on lines and angles. So as we have discussed about the basic thing about line, we already know that if you are given two distinct points, okay, there is a unique line that passes through these points. Okay, so this is like regarding the line passing through two given points, it is one of the postulate of the Euclid, which we have discussed in the previous chapter. So in today's chapter let's read what is mentioned in this chapter. Okay, so in chapter 5, that is introduction to Euclid geometry, we have studied that a minimum of 2 points are required to draw a straight line, isn't it? Suppose if you are given 2 points A and B, so you could draw a straight line joining these two. In fact, if you are given 2 different points, there exists only a unique line. This line is unique. You can't draw 2 different lines. Okay, whereas if you are giving only 1 point, then you could draw infinite lines passing through this. Okay, if you are given only 1 point, you could draw infinite lines passing through that point, whereas if you are given 2 different points, there is only a single line connecting them. Next, in this chapter you will study the properties of angles formed when 2 lines intersect each other. Angles formed when 2 lines intersect each other, and also the properties of angles formed when a line intersects 2 or more parallel lines at distinct points. See, suppose if you are given 2 lines, say L1 and say L2. Okay, see here you could clearly observe these 2 lines, they are intersecting at a common point. Okay, so in this chapter what you will be learning is the angle between these two. The angle between these two you will be learning about related properties about the angle between any 2 given lines. This is one essence. And second thing is, suppose if you are given 2 lines, again these are the basic things which you might have learned in your earlier classes. say suppose these two are parallel lines and there is a third line which is intersecting these two lines at two different points. Here you will be learning about the relation between these different angles formed by this third line with this set of parallel lines. So for example, this is A, say this is B, this is C, so this is E, F, G, H. Okay, here the third line, it intersects L1 and L2, okay, at two different points A and B, making different angles, okay, in this direction A and in the other direction, okay, that is towards this side, it is making an angle D. Similarly, all the different angles have been labeled over here. So you will be learning about the relation and the properties relating these angles over here in this chapter. Okay, so in this chapter mostly it is about learning the properties of the angles. So what are these properties? First of all, you need to understand what is meant by angle, and then you need to understand what are meant by parallel lines, and then you need to understand the relation between these angles. Okay, when a third line intersects two parallel lines, then what is the relation between these angles? Okay, so first of all, why do you need to learn about the angles? Because we are learning because it is essential for us in development of our lives, in development in civilization. So whatever is required for our civilization, those only we'll be learning at school. Okay, there is nothing like something nonsense we'll be learning at school. So everything we learn, they are useful in our daily lives and we can make use of them when we grow enough. So that's the reason, try to remember each and everything whatever you learned at your school life. So in your daily life you see different types of angles formed between the edges of the plane surface. So for example, look at your walls surrounding your room. Okay, if you look at, see, between any two walls, okay, you will see there is an adjoining line, right? So there you could see that both the plane surfaces of your wall, okay, at the intersection line, they seem to make some angle. You look at any edge, okay, they always make certain angle, and this angle information is required for construction. So the civil engineer, whoever makes a plan, he should be well aware of this angle. Only if he is very much well aware, okay, through his prior knowledge itself, he could make a, what do you know, he would make a diagram, and he would engineering diagram, and he would send it to the engineer. So based on that plan, they'll construct your house. So foremost, they should have prior knowledge requiring the angle. So that is one example. Similarly, look at huts. At the huts, you will see that there is a conical type of thing, right? So you will see there is a parallel line, set of parallel lines like this. You see set of parallel lines, and you will see something like that. On top of this, you will see like two lines intersecting. So here also, here you need to have a knowledge regarding parallel lines, isn't it? These two are parallel, and similarly here you need to have the knowledge regarding the angle. So this is one practical life example. Why do you need to learn about these parallel lines and the angles? Not only that, even in previously also, all the Egyptian pyramids, they have used extensive use of this geometry. Okay, so it is not something new what we have been devised. So it is coming since ages. Just we are trying to learn. So see, first thing is you have to read each and every line whatever is given in the textbook. Always follow these steps. Read each and every line starting from the textbook. Try to understand what is mentioned in each and every line, and then do all your examples on your own. Take the help of textbook, and then when it comes to your textbook exercises, you should be able to do it on your own without taking any example. Okay, all the necessary help you should take from the textbook by looking at the reading the examples itself, reading and solving the examples. When it comes to the exercise question, you should be well trained enough to be able to do any question. And still, if you require any further help, anyway, your teachers, we are there, or your friends, anything, so you could get back to us. So this is the proper procedure. In this way you could increase the pace at which you will be learning. Okay, instead of going with the pace of others, if you develop your pace, you will be increasing your knowledge very much, and you will become very thorough at your respective subject. So you could follow the same method in each and every subject. Okay, and then you might have learned about the properties of light, right, in light chapter. In light chapter, if you have seen, say for example, say this is the incident surface, okay, and suppose if this is the source of light, okay, this is the source of light, then say this is the ray which is being incident on the surface. This is the surface and this is the source. Here, suppose if the source of light ray is being incident at some point P, then you could observe that, you might have learned in this chapter light, or else if not, you will observe that this light ray would get reflected. This gets reflected in such a way that, exactly, say suppose this is a line 90 degrees. If this angle is theta, with the same angle theta, okay, with the same angle theta with this line, on the other side you will find this line being reflected. Again, here also, to understand this, you need to know the knowledge of angles. So it is imperative that you will be learning about lines and angles over here as well. So this ray, we'll call it as incident ray, and this, the other ray, the incident ray, the ray after it hits the surface, again it would reflect back. So this ray, we'll call it as reflected ray. Okay, and there is a nice property, you will see that this theta I is equal to theta R. This is a very, very interesting property which is followed by light. So whenever you will place something, some surface on a, some source in the same medium, then the light ray that emanates from the source, it hits the surface and again gets reflected, and it reflects in such a way that this incident ray and the reflected ray, they make equal angles with the perpendicular line to the surface. Okay, this perpendicular line, we'll call it as normal to the surface, normal to incident surface, normal to incident surface. This is an important property of light. What is that? The light that emanates from the source, the light ray, that, and the reflected ray, means whenever some light ray hits the surface, again it reverts back, okay, but it reverts back at some angle. Now the important property of light is that this incident ray and this reflected ray, they make equal angles with the normal. Okay, so here also, to understand the properties of light, you need to have knowledge on these angles. Okay, and not only that, there is another property why you want to learn angles. Say for example, there is a lighthouse placed at every seashore. Okay, you will find, so here you will find that they will be finding from where the ship comes. Say suppose this is your water body, okay, from the lighthouse they will be measuring the distance, at what distance is the ship is. So accordingly they will be getting the signals, and to measure the distance again they need to require the knowledge of angles. So this is your ship. Okay, so here they require the angle information regarding the angles to know the distance at which the ship was placed. So this is another important. Say this is the lighthouse. My diagrams are bad, but try to understand. So to calculate the distance approximately, again we'll be using the knowledge of angles. And then you know already, you might have come across the facts like so and so planet is at so much distance. Okay, at an astronomical distance. Say Saturn is at so much distance, Moon is at so much distance. And have you ever thought how these distances have been calculated? Again, here also what you will do is a person on Earth. Okay, say this is your Earth. Okay, and say this is your planetary object. So this is your planetary object. What they will do is they'll take a projection. They'll take a projection of the planet onto the Earth's surface. So by measuring this angle, and since this is a projection onto the Earth, this knowledge you can get. And now by using this angle information and this projected distance, they'll try to measure this distance, this unknown distance approximately. This is known as the projection of this planet onto the Earth's surface. Okay, so with having the knowledge of the angle theta and the projection, what we could do is we could find the planetary distance. So this is again a very, very important application. So in fact, to know all the distances from the planetary objects, they are trying to use the same method. Okay, using the method of projections. In fact, there are innumerable applications why angles are necessary. Okay, students, I think with this basics we could proceed with the chapter. So till here, guys, are you having any doubts or do you want to ask anything? Yeah. Hello? Oh, did they ping? Okay. Because there's a... Okay. Hello? Since how long they're not able to listen? Okay. Hello? Okay. Okay, anyway, let me continue. Okay, guys. So let me continue. So here the basic terms what you need to learn before we get on to this chapter is, first of all, let's revise the terms and definitions related to lines and angles which we have learnt in our earlier classes. Okay. So the first thing is, what is meant by a line segment? Line segment means it is a part or portion of a ray. So for example, see, you need to understand this difference. What is meant by line? What is meant by ray? What is meant by a line segment? See, this is a straight line which extends in both directions. Okay, in both directions, towards that end, infinite end, and towards this infinite end, then we'll call this as a line segment. And the other one it is a ray. This is a unidirectional line, means there is an end on one side, whereas there is no ending on the other side. This extends indefinitely. But here there is a terminal end. Okay, students. Whereas in case of line, there is no terminal end, means at both the ends it was extending indefinitely. Whereas when it comes to ray, there is a terminal end on one side and it extends indefinitely on the other side. So this is the ray. And then the third one what you need to know is line segment. Line segment means it is just a portion of line. Portion of line means just some segment. Okay. So here for a line segment you will find that you will have ends on either side. Okay. You will have ends on either side. So for that reason, line segment you could draw it like this. There are ends on either side. Line segment means, okay, there is a fixed starting point and fixed ending point, whereas for a ray you will find there is no ending. So it could be unidirectional. So either it starts from A and it continues in that way, or it starts in this direction and it continues something like this. So one end is open and the other end is closed. And for a line, both the ends are open. Okay, means line would be extending in both the directions. Okay, so the line segment AB is denoted by AB bar and its length is denoted by AB. Okay, and then next we need to understand what is meant by collinear points and non-collinear points. What is meant by collinear points and non-collinear points? See, suppose if you consider 3 points on any given straight line, okay, you will say that all these 3 points are collinear. So collinear is the word you will use when there is a unique straight line connecting all the given points. Whenever there is a unique straight line that passes through all the given points, then you will say that these are collinear points. For example, consider the coordinate axis and consider say 4 points, origin 0 0, and say A on the x-axis 1 comma 0, and say B on the x-axis, that is 2 comma 0. Now the question is O, A and B, are they collinear? Is O, A and B, are they collinear? Yes, because connecting these 3 points there is a unique straight line. There is a straight line. Okay. Now for example, if I'll ask you, say there is some point C which is at 1 comma 1. Now I'll ask you, are O, C, B collinear? Are O, C and B collinear? Now the definition of collinearity is, if there is a straight line passing through all the given points, then you will say they are collinear. But can you draw a straight line connecting O, C and B? See, connecting O and C you could draw a straight line, right? Connecting C and B you could again draw a straight line. But can you draw a unique straight line connecting all these 3 points? No, because there doesn't exist any straight line that connects O, C and B. So hence O, C and B, they are not collinear. So students, hope you have understood what is meant by collinearity and not collinearity. So collinearity means the given set of points. The discussion about about what points you are trying to discuss about collinearity. So all of them should lie on the same straight line. If in case they are not on the same straight line, then they are non-collinear. Okay. If the points are non-collinear, say for example O, C and B, they are non-collinear, means you could form a triangle using those 3 points, isn't it? Whereas OAB, can you form a triangle using OA and B? No. The area of the triangle formed by OA and B is 0 because they are collinear. So this is again an important conclusion. If A, B and C are collinear points, if A, B and C are collinear points, so what can we say about these points? See, A, B and C are collinear means what? All of 3, they lie on the same straight line L. Means area of the triangle. Do you find any triangle being formed by these 3 area of triangle formed by A, B and C would be 0. This is a very important property, students. So even by showing the area of triangle to be 0, you could say that the given 3 points are collinear. So this is very important. Again I am repeating, if 3 points are collinear means all of them, they lie on the same straight line. If all the 3 given points are lying on the same straight line, implies they doesn't form any triangle. So if you see no triangle, what does it imply? The area of the triangle is 0 because there is no triangle formed. Okay. So till here, are you having any doubts? Okay. So anyway, since it's time up, we'll continue the discussion in our next class. Okay. There looks like technical issues. So with this, I'll wind up our discussion and we'll continue in our next class. Okay, students. Thank you.